Mom threw my suitcase at a strange doorstep. "This is your dad's new home, go and buy yourself." The car sped away, leaving me and a mess on the ground. The door opened. A woman wearing an apron poked her head out and froze for a moment when she saw me. "Oh, Kylie, come in, come in." She hurriedly took my suitcase while beckoning me. "You must be hungry? I just finished making soup, come have a taste." I stood at the door, speechless. This woman was the stepmother my mother had described as a vixen? 3 days ago, I was just diagnosed with moderate depression. The doctor told my mom, "Your child's condition is quite serious and requires family understanding and companionship." Mom nodded in agreement at the time, but when we got home, she said to me, "Depression is just being melodramatic, doing more practice problems will fix it." She threw a stack of exam papers in front of me. "There are still 2 months until the college entrance exam, don't use illness as an excuse." I looked at those dense math problems and felt the whole world spinning. That helpless feeling was like a drowning person unable to grasp any life-saving straw. "Mom, I really feel terrible." "What's there to be upset about? Look at Lucy, her parents got divorced and she still came in first in her grade." Mom's voice grew sharper, "You're the only one making such a big deal out of things." I closed my eyes, and tears silently streamed down. From childhood to adulthood, I have never been able to surpass other people's children. When my grades improved a bit, she said it still wasn't good enough. My poor grades, she said I embarrassed her. I never know how to make her satisfied. Last night, I finally broke down. When she compared me to others yet again, I cried out loudly, "I want to die." Mom froze for a moment, then sneered, "Die? You think I'll regret it if you die? I'd actually have less to worry about if you died." In that moment, my heart completely shattered. Early the next morning, my mother packed my luggage. "You're going to live with your dad for a while. I don't have time to deal with your episodes." While she was driving, I sat in the back seat, staring blankly. The scenery outside the car window rapidly retreated, just like my life, growing further and further away. "We're here." Mom stopped the car and pointed to an ordinary residential building. "Unit 3 on the 18th floor, remember that." I dragged my suitcase out of the car, my legs feeling a bit weak. "Mom. Don't call me that," she cut me off, "be well behaved at someone else's house, don't embarrass me." With that, she stepped on the accelerator, and the car quickly disappeared around the corner. I stood downstairs, looking at the crumpled note in my hand. On it was written, "Paul, 18-3. That was my father's name. We hadn't seen each other for 3 years. Since he divorced my mom, I had never contacted him again. Mom said he betrayed this family. Mom said he chose another woman. Mom said he never loved me at all. But now, Mom has sent me to his doorstep. The mirror in the elevator reflects my haggard face. The dark circles under my eyes are heavy, my complexion is pale, and my hair is messy. I look like a stray little animal. The 18th floor arrived quickly. I dragged my suitcase to door number 3 and raised my hand to knock. But my hand stopped in midair. What if he didn't welcome me? What if his new wife didn't like me? What if I really became a burden to someone? Just as I was hesitating, the door suddenly opened. A woman wearing a floral apron peeked out, still holding a spatula in her hand. She was clearly taken aback when she saw me, but quickly broke into a smile. "You must be Kylie, right? Come in, come in." She put down the cooking utensils and reached out to help me with my suitcase. "I just finished stewing pork rib soup, you've come at just the right time." I stared at her blankly. This woman appeared to be in her 40s, slightly overweight, without makeup on her face, and with beads of sweat on her forehead. She was nothing like the vixen her mother had described. Instead, she gave off a simple and approachable feeling. "What are you standing there for? Come on in." She pulled my arm and dragged me into the house. The apartment is not large, but it is kept very clean. In the living room, there is an old-fashioned fabric sofa with fruits and snacks on the coffee table. Some children's drawings are posted on the wall, which appear to be the works of kindergarten students. Your dad has gone to work and won't be back until evening. As she spoke, she walked toward the kitchen. You sit down and rest first, I'll go serve the soup. I sat on the sofa, looking at this unfamiliar yet warm home. This place is completely different from my original home. My original home was always quiet, as my mother didn't allow any noise that would affect my studies. The furniture was all white and cold, just like a hospital. And here there are warm lights and the breath of life. The paintings on the wall make people feel very reassured. Come, try my cooking. She walked over with a bowl of pork rib soup, steam still rising from it. Be careful, it's hot. I took the bowl and smelled the rich aroma. I haven't had soup like this in a long time. Mom always orders takeout or just cooks some noodles to get by. She says cooking is a waste of time, and it's better to memorize a few more words instead. The soup was very hot, but very fragrant. I sipped it slowly, feeling a warmth spread through my stomach. Is it good? She sat beside me, looking at me expectantly. I nodded, it's very good. My voice was somewhat hoarse. This was the first thing I had said in 3 days. Then drink a little more. She patted my shoulder happily. You're too thin, you need to nourish yourself properly. I continued drinking the soup while she accompanied me. Just call me Aunt Vanessa, she said. I know this might seem a bit strange to you, but I hope you can make yourself at home here. I looked up at her. Her eyes were gentle, without the sharp glint that my mother had. I've already prepared your room. It's right next to Danny's, downstairs. Danny is yours? My son, he's 6 years old and in kindergarten. She smiled and said, he was so excited when he heard he was going to have a sister come stay with us. I have mixed feelings. Dad has a new child. A 6-year-old son. He's at kindergarten now, and you'll see him tonight. I nodded without saying a word. Aunt Vanessa seemed to notice my awkwardness and gently patted my hand. Kylie, I know you might have some opinions about me, but I really hope we can get along well. Her words were sincere, without any pretense. Your dad often mentions you, saying you're very smart and do well in your studies. He has been missing you all this time. Hearing this, my eyes grew moist. For 3 years, I had thought Dad had forgotten me. Mom always said he didn't want me anymore after starting a new family. Why doesn't he come to see me? I asked softly. Aunt Vanessa sighed. He wants to go, but... She trailed off, finally just shaking her head. Never mind, you can talk to him yourselves when he gets back. I continued drinking my soup, my heart filled with mixed emotions. This afternoon, Aunt Vanessa helped me organize my room. The room isn't large, but it's very cozy. The bedsheets are light blue, and there's a pot of pothos on the desk. This is what Danny picked, said Aunt Vanessa, pointing to the pothos. He said green is good for the eyes, so your sister can look at it when she's tired from studying. I touched the leaves of the pothos, feeling warm inside. A 6-year-old child, actually thinking of a sister she had never met. Thank you, I said. Why be so polite with me? Aunt Vanessa said with a smile, from now on, this will be your home. At that moment, I almost cried. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Dad came back. I heard the sound of the door opening, and my heart suddenly started beating faster. Is Kylie here? That was Dad's voice, more weathered than I remembered. She's in the room, go take a look. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. I sat on the edge of the bed, not knowing what to do. Knock, knock, knock. Kylie, it's Dad. I took a deep breath. Come in. The door opened, and Dad appeared in the doorway. He looked much older, with some graying hair and more wrinkles on his face. But his eyes were still as gentle. Kylie. His voice choked up. We father and daughter just looked at each other, neither of us speaking first. 3 years is enough to change many things. I grew from an innocent little girl into a 17-year-old young woman. He transformed from a spirited middle-aged man into a weary-faced father. You Are you okay? He asked cautiously. I nodded, I'm fine. How are your studies? They're all right. Our conversation was so stiff, like we were strangers. Dad sat down by the bed and reached out to touch my head, but pulled his hand back halfway. Kylie, Dad. He opened his mouth, but ultimately just sighed. Never mind. Are you getting used to living here? It's okay. Silence again. I could feel he wanted to say so much, but didn't know where to begin. Me too. For the past 3 years, I've had so much resentment and misunderstanding toward him. But seeing him now, those resentments don't seem so important anymore. Dinner's ready. Aunt Vanessa shouted from outside. Dad stood up, let's go eat. In the restaurant, a little boy was sitting in a high chair, holding a spoon in his hand. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. Sister! Sister! He excitedly waved his little hands. This is Danny, my half-brother. He looks a lot like Dad, with a round face and big eyes. Sister, you're so beautiful, he said in his childish voice. I couldn't help but laugh, this was the first time I had smiled in days. Thank you, Danny. Sister, why don't you live with us? Danny asked, tilting his head. Dad said you live very far away. The atmosphere at the dinner table suddenly became awkward. Aunt Vanessa quickly changed the subject, let's eat, the food is getting cold. The dinner was sumptuous, with braised pork, steamed egg, vegetable soup, and Danny's favorite sweet and sour ribs. Aunt Vanessa kept putting food on my plate, eat more, you're too thin. Danny also imitated his mom by serving me food, clumsily holding chopsticks with his little hands. Eat this, sister, this is delicious. Watching them, I felt a mix of emotions. What a warm and loving family this is. There was a loving mother, an innocent and adorable child, and a father who silently shouldered his responsibilities. And I, like an outsider. Kylie, your mom, is she okay? Dad asked cautiously. She is fine. Is she still as busy as before? Well, very busy. I didn't tell her that she sent me here because I was sick. I don't want them to know my weakness and problems. She works hard, you should try to understand her, Dad said. I gave a bitter smile, I understand. I understand why she never cared about my feelings. I understand why she always put work first. I understand why she pushed me away when I needed her most. I understand it all. After dinner, Danny pestered me to play building blocks with him. Sister, can we build a big castle? I sat on the carpet and built blocks with him. Danny's little hands were very skillful, and he quickly built a small house. This is Sister's room. He pointed at the house and said, Sister will live here from now on. I looked at the small house built with building blocks, and a warm feeling surged through my heart. Danny, why did you build a house for Sister? Because my sister doesn't have a home. He said very seriously, Mom said that Sister lives alone outside and is very lonely, so she's coming to our home. Now Sister has a home. His words were like a knife, stabbing directly into my heart. So in their eyes, I was a child without a home. So I looked so pitiful. Tears suddenly welled up. Sister, why are you crying? Danny asked anxiously, are the building blocks too small? I'll build you a bigger one. He frantically tried to rebuild, but the building blocks scattered all over the floor. Sister, don't cry, don't cry. He stretched out his little hand to wipe my tears, his own eyes also filled with tears. I'm sorry, Sister. I shouldn't have said that you don't have a home. Watching his panicked expression, I instead stopped crying. It's okay, Danny. I hugged him, Sister is just too happy. Really? Really, because Danny built a home for Sister. That night, I lay in this strange yet warm room, looking at the stars outside the window. This place was really different from my original home. Mom never allowed me to cry, she said that crying was a sign of weakness. Mom never builds blocks with me, she says it's a waste of time. Mom never comforts me when I'm sad, she just makes me do more problems to distract myself. But here, someone will worry because of my tears. Someone will build a home for me. Someone will accept me unconditionally. I'm beginning to understand why Dad chose this place. It's not because Aunt Vanessa is beautiful, but because she has a warm heart. It's not because this family is wealthy, but because there is real love here. My phone suddenly rang. It was a message from my mom. How are you? Are you not causing any trouble for your dad? I looked at this message, not knowing how to reply. In the end, I just replied with 2 words, no. Mom soon sent another message, study hard and don't neglect your schoolwork. I bought several sets of practice tests for you. Seeing this message, my heart, which had just calmed down, began to feel anxious again. Even here, I can't escape those exam papers and questions. I turn off my phone and bury my face in the pillow. Maybe, I can never truly be happy. Early the next morning, I was awakened by a delicious aroma. Aunt Vanessa was cooking breakfast in the kitchen, while Danny sat at the dining table drinking milk. Sister is awake. Danny waved happily. Breakfast is ready, come and eat. Aunt Vanessa peeked her head out from the kitchen. After I finished washing up, I walked to the dining table and saw xiaolongbao, congee, pickled vegetables, and fried eggs on it. What a spread! You're a guest, of course I have to make something delicious. Aunt Vanessa said with a smile. While I was eating breakfast, the delivery rang the doorbell. Aunt Vanessa went to open the door and brought back a large box. Kylie, your package. I saw the address on the box and my heart sank. It was indeed the test papers sent by my mother. I opened the box, which was filled with workbooks and mock exams for various subjects. There was also a note, complete at least 3 sets every day, don't slack off. Seeing these exam papers, I suddenly felt dizzy. That familiar feeling of anxiety came rushing back. Wow, so many books. Danny curiously came over to look. Sister, are all these your homework? I nodded without saying a word. Aunt Vanessa noticed something was wrong with my expression and asked with concern, Kylie, what's wrong? It's nothing, I forced a smile. I'm going to my room to do homework. I carried those test papers back to my room and closed the door. Looking at the mountain of workbooks, I felt like I couldn't breathe. These densely packed problems are like the iron bars of a prison, trapping me inside. I picked up a math paper and looked at the first problem. It was clearly a very simple question, but my mind went completely blank. Those numbers and symbols danced before my eyes, unable to form any meaningful sentences. I told myself to stay calm, take a deep breath, and start over. But the more I tried to concentrate, the more muddled my mind became. Sweat dripped from my forehead, and my palms grew wet. I started trembling. This feeling was all too familiar. This is what happens whenever the pressure becomes too much. My heart races, my breathing becomes difficult, and it feels like the whole world is spinning. I put down my pen and leaned on the desk, gasping for breath. No, I can't do this. Mom said I shouldn't cause trouble for others. I must be strong. I picked up my pen again, forcing myself to look at the problems. But the letters and numbers seemed to have a life of their own, dancing on the paper, completely unclear. My hands started trembling, and I couldn't hold my pen steady. Tears fell uncontrollably, dripping onto the test paper. Just then, Danny's voice came from outside the door. Sister, what are you doing? I'm doing my homework, Danny. I'm trying to make my voice sound normal. Sister, can I come in? I want to show you the drawing I made. I quickly wipe away my tears. Wait a moment, sister is busy. Just for a little while, okay? Danny's voice sounded pitiful. I couldn't bear to refuse him. All right, come in. The door opened, and Danny ran in holding a piece of drawing paper. Sister, look. I drew our whole family. He held the drawing up to me. On the paper, 4 small figures of different heights were drawn in crayon, holding hands. This is Dad, this is Mom, this is me," he pointed to the figures in the drawing, "and this is my big sister." I looked at myself in the painting, a small figure in red clothes with a big smile painted on my face. "Sister, why are you crying?" Danny suddenly asked. I quickly wiped my face. "Sister isn't crying." "You're lying, your eyes are all red." He tilted his head to look at me. "Is the homework too hard?" I nodded. Danny looked at the test paper on the table and frowned. "So many words, it's so hard," he said. "If you can't do it, big sister, I can help you." "You're too young, you can't do it." "Although I'm young, I'm very smart." Danny said seriously, "Mom said that when we encounter difficulties, family members should help each other." As he spoke, he climbed onto the chair and picked up my pen. "Sister, I know how to do this problem." He pointed to a very simple addition problem. 3 plus 2 equals 5, he said proudly. Looking at his serious expression, I couldn't help but laugh. Danny is so smart. "Then sister won't cry anymore?" I nod. "I'm not crying anymore. Let's do homework together." Danny says excitedly, "I'll handle the easy parts, and sister will handle the difficult parts." And so, Danny and I sat at the table together. He looked intently at the problems he couldn't understand, occasionally giving me guidance. "Sister, I know this character, it's one." "Sister, is the answer to this question apple?" Listening to his childish words, my tense nerves gradually relaxed. Those problems that originally frightened me didn't seem so scary anymore with Danny's company. At noon, Aunt Vanessa called us for dinner. "Danny, don't disturb your sister's studies," she said gently. "Mom, I'm helping my sister." Danny said proudly, "I'm teaching my sister how to do arithmetic." Auntie Vanessa looked at me. "Kylie, if Danny bothers you, just tell Auntie." "No, he's very well behaved," I said, "and he really helped me a lot." Hearing my words, Danny became even more pleased. "I told you I'm smart." During the meal, Aunt Vanessa noticed I didn't have much appetite. "Kylie, is the food not to your liking?" "No, it's delicious." "Then why are you eating so little?" "I don't know how to explain it. Actually, since I got sick, I've often had no appetite. Sometimes I feel like vomiting when I see food, and sometimes I get full after just a few bites. Mom always scolds me for being dramatic and says I'm wasting food." "Are you too stressed with your studies?" Aunt Vanessa asked with concern. I nodded. Aunt Vanessa put down her chopsticks. "Kylie, I need to tell you something. Your mom called your dad yesterday." I looked up at her. "She said you've been under a lot of stress lately and told us to care more about you. Actually, I want to say that while studying is important, your health is more important. If you feel tired, take a break, it's okay." Hearing her words, my eyes grew moist again. Mom had never said anything like that. Mom always said that being tired was normal. How could you get into a good university without being tired? "Thank you, Auntie," I said softly. Why be so polite with Auntie? Aunt Vanessa patted my hand. "You're part of our family now." That afternoon, I didn't do any more of those test papers. Aunt Vanessa took me and Danny for a walk in the small park downstairs. There are many elderly people playing chess in the park, young mothers pushing strollers, and children playing on the slide. "Sister, let's go on the swings." Danny pulled my hand. "I don't know how to swing." "I'll teach you." Danny first sat on the swing to demonstrate. "It's like this, you need to push with your feet." I carefully sat on the other swing. "Don't be afraid, Auntie will push you from behind." Auntie Vanessa stood behind me. The swing slowly began to move, the wind gently brushing against my face. I closed my eyes, feeling this long-lost sense of relaxation. The last time I was on a swing was back in elementary school. Back then, I didn't have so much homework or so much pressure. Back then, I could still be happy for a long time over a flower or a butterfly. "Sister, you're smiling," Danny exclaimed excitedly. I touched my face and realized I was indeed smiling. This was the first time in a long time that I had smiled from the heart. My sister looks so beautiful when she smiles. Danny said, much better than when you're crying. Aunt Vanessa also smiled. Yes, Kylie looks so pretty when she smiles. In that moment, I felt as if I had come back to life. I can be happy too. I deserve to be loved too. Life isn't just about exams and scores. There are also swings and smiles. There is also companionship and understanding from family. There is also simple and pure happiness. On the third day at Aunt Vanessa's house, I received a call from my mom. Have you finished your homework? This was the first thing she said. Not yet, I answered truthfully. What do you mean not yet? How much can you do in a day? Her voice immediately rose an octave. I'm not feeling well. Not feeling well again? Kylie, you can't always use being sick as an excuse. Mom's voice sounded particularly harsh on the phone. You're living in someone else's house now, you can't cause trouble for them, you know? I know. If you know, then study hard. The college entrance exam is less than 2 months away, can you afford to waste time? I held the phone, feeling something stuck in my throat. That familiar suffocating feeling returned. Mom, What do you mean what? Don't try to negotiate with me. Mom cut me off. I'm going to check your homework progress tomorrow, and don't even think about coming back if it's not finished. With that, she hung up the phone. I stood on the balcony, holding my phone, dumbfounded. Outside, the sun was setting, dyeing the sky golden yellow. But my heart was filled with darkness. Kylie, what's wrong? Aunt Vanessa came to my side without me noticing. It's nothing. I quickly put away my phone. Did your mom call? I nodded. Aunt Vanessa sat down beside me. Is she pressuring you to study again? I nodded again. Kylie, I want to ask you something, will you answer me honestly? I looked into her gentle eyes. Are you really sick? This question made me pause. No one had ever asked me this before. My mother always denied my illness, saying I was just pretending to be sick. My teachers and classmates didn't know about my situation either. Only the doctors knew, but they would only prescribe medication and not care about my inner feelings. Yes, I whispered. I have depression. Saying these words, I felt a sense of relief. This was the first time I had admitted my condition to anyone other than a doctor. Aunt Vanessa didn't show surprise or disgust, just gently stroked my hair. When did it start? About half a year ago, I said. At first, I just couldn't sleep, and then it got progressively worse. Does your mom know? She took me to see the doctor, but she doesn't believe me. She said I'm pretending to be sick to get out of studying. Aunt Vanessa sighed, she's probably too worried about your grades. But health is more important than grades. Hearing this, my tears fell. Such a simple truth, why couldn't Mom understand? Kylie, would you like to tell Auntie why you got sick? I hesitated for a moment, but finally spoke up. I felt so useless. No matter how hard I try, my mom is never satisfied. She always talks about how good other people's children are and never praises me. When I got second place in my class, she asked me why I wasn't first. When I got first place, she said the questions were too easy this time. I never know how to make her happy. As I spoke, my voice began to choke. Later I felt very tired and didn't want to do anything. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and couldn't concentrate. The more this happened, the angrier my mother became. She said I was just giving up on myself. But I've really been trying so hard. I finally couldn't help but burst into tears. These words had been bottled up in my heart for too long, and no one had listened to me. Aunt Vanessa held me in her arms, gently patting my back. Go ahead and cry, it'll be better once you let it out. Her embrace was warm, with a faint scent of laundry detergent. Just like Mother's embrace. No, even warmer than Mother's embrace. Because Mother had never held me like this. Mom always says that crying is useless and just a waste of time. But in Aunt Vanessa's arms, I felt my pain was understood and accepted. Kylie, listen to me. Aunt Vanessa said softly after I had cried enough. You're not useless at all. You are kind, sensible, and very smart. You're just sick, like having a cold or fever. This is not your fault, nor is it your weakness. Her words were like sweet dew, nourishing my parched heart. But Mom said, your mom is wrong. Aunt Vanessa interrupted me, being sick is nothing to be ashamed of. Besides, aren't you already seeing a doctor now? Are you taking your medicine on time? I nodded. That's good. Aunt Vanessa said, illnesses always get better, but they need time. During this time, don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's okay to study a bit slower or do a little less homework. The most important thing is to take good care of your health. Hearing her words, I felt the weight in my heart lighten considerably. But Mom will be angry. Then let her be angry, Aunt Vanessa said, Auntie will explain to her. Really? Of course it's true. Aunt Vanessa patted my shoulder, you're living in our home now, so I have a responsibility to take care of you. Taking care of your body includes taking care of your mood as well. That night, Dad came home later than usual. During dinner, Aunt Vanessa told him about my situation. After listening, Dad's face showed a guilty expression. Kylie, I'm sorry, he said, Dad didn't know you were sick. If I had known earlier, Dad wouldn't have let you bear so much pressure. It's not your fault, I said, Mom didn't tell you. Anyway, now that you're here, Dad will take good care of you. Dad's eyes turned red, for the past 3 years, Dad has missed you so much. Every night I wonder, what is my daughter doing now? Is she happy? Is she healthy? Are her studies tiring? But I don't dare to contact you, afraid that your mother will get angry, and also afraid that you hate me. Dad, I called out. It was the first time I had voluntarily called him that in 3 years. Now everything's fine, we can be together again. Dad wiped his eyes, I will definitely make it up to you. In that moment, I felt like I truly had a family. Not because of blood relations, but because of genuine care. Before going to bed at night, I proactively sent a message to my mom, Mom, I'm sick and need to rest for a while. I might be slower with my homework, please understand. Soon, my mom replied, sick again? Why are you so delicate? Don't cause trouble for your dad and the others. When I saw this message, I wasn't as sad as before. Because I know that at least here, someone understands me, supports me. Someone is willing to stand up to my mom for my health. Someone puts my happiness first. That's enough. During the first week living at Dad's house, I felt like I was slowly getting better. Every morning, Aunt Vanessa would make nutritious breakfasts. Danny would watch cartoons with me and teach me how to play with his toys. When my dad comes home from work, he asks about my day but never mentions studying. This pressure-free life has allowed my tense nerves to gradually relax. I've started to be able to fall asleep, although I still have nightmares. I've started to have an appetite, although I still eat very little. Most importantly, I'm starting to believe that maybe I will really get better. But my mom obviously doesn't think so. She calls or texts every day to ask about my homework progress. Every time I say I haven't done much, she gets furious. Kylie, you can't go on like this. That night, she called me again. Tomorrow is the weekend, how many practice tests have you done this week? 3. I answered truthfully. 3? Her voice nearly shattered the phone, you usually do 3 in one day. Mom, I really don't feel well. Don't feel well? Where exactly don't you feel well? I've taken you to see the doctor, and the doctor said it's just stress, that you'll be fine after some rest. Now you're resting at home every day, what else could be wrong? I don't know how to explain it. Depression isn't like a cold or fever, invisible and intangible, but it's very real. That kind of despair and helplessness can't be cured by just resting for a few days. Kylie, let me be honest with you. Mom's voice became serious. I've sacrificed a lot for your education over these years. I could have gotten a better job, but I haven't changed it because I wanted to be there for your studies. Mom could have remarried, but I've remained single to give you a complete home. Now you're telling me you don't want to study? Do you want all my sacrifices to be for nothing? Hearing these words, I felt deeply ashamed. So in my mother's heart, I was her burden. So my existence was hindering her happiness. Mom, I'm sorry. What's the use of being sorry? Mom interrupted me, you just focus on studying for me now. You must finish 10 exam papers this weekend, otherwise don't even think about coming back. After saying that, she hung up the phone. I held my mobile phone, feeling as if the whole world was spinning. That suffocating feeling returned. I started gasping for breath, and my palms were sweating profusely. My heart is beating so fast, it feels like it could jump out of my throat at any moment. I think about the medication the doctor prescribed for me. Those little white pills that help me forget the pain. If I take a few more, could I forget forever? I open the bottle and pour out several pills. Then I poured out a few more pills. The white tablets rolled in my palm like tiny straws to cling to. Also like a final release. Just as I was about to bring the pills to my lips, the door suddenly opened. Sister, I had a nightmare. Danny walked in, rubbing his eyes, and froze when he saw the pills in my hand. Sister, are you sick? I quickly put the pills away. No, I'm just taking vitamins. Oh. Danny climbed onto my bed. Sister, can I sleep with you? I dreamed about monsters, I'm so scared. I looked at his innocent face, and the dark thoughts in my mind slowly dissipated. Of course you can. Danny slipped into my blanket, his small body pressing against me. Sister, why are you crying? I touched my face and found that there were indeed tears. I miss Mom, I said. This wasn't a lie, I really did miss Mom. I miss that gentle mother from before, the one who would tell me stories and hold me until I fell asleep. Even though she might have never existed. Where is your sister's mother? Danny asked curiously. Far away. Then why doesn't she come to see your sister? I don't know how to answer this question. Maybe she's just too busy. Danny thought for a moment. Then how about my mom becomes sister's mom? That way sister will have a mom. Hearing his words, I wanted to cry again. Danny, why are you so good to sister? Because sister is my family. Danny said as a matter of fact. Mom said that family members should love and care for each other. Sister protects me, so I have to protect sister too. His words were like sunshine, shining into my dark heart. It turns out that I am worthy of being protected. It turns out that I have value too. Not because of my grades, not because of my performance, just because I'm his family. Danny, thank you. You're welcome. Danny kissed me on my face. Sister, let's sleep together. That night, I fell asleep holding Danny. This was the first time in a long time that I had slept so soundly. No nightmares, no insomnia, only Danny's steady breathing beside me. The next morning, Aunt Vanessa found Danny in my room. This child, he's run to his sister's room again, she said somewhat embarrassedly. Kylie, did he disturb you? No. I said, he's very well behaved. Aunt Vanessa looked at me, you look much better. Really? Yes, you're not so pale anymore, and your eyes are brighter. Hearing her words, I felt a bit happy. Maybe I'm really getting better. During breakfast, Dad told me something. Kylie, I found a psychologist for you. A friend recommended them, and they're supposedly very professional. Shall we go see them together this afternoon? I nodded. Actually, I've been seeing a psychologist, but the results haven't been significant. The doctor always tells me to exercise more, socialize more, and maintain a positive mindset. But these suggestions are very difficult for me to follow. When you can barely get out of bed, how can you exercise? When you feel worthless, how can you stay optimistic? But since Dad went to the trouble of arranging it, I should at least give it a try. In the afternoon, Dad took me to the psychological clinic. The psychologist was a middle-aged woman who looked very gentle. Unlike previous doctors, she didn't start by asking about my symptoms right away. Instead, she first chatted with me, asking about my hobbies and my life. "Kylie, what do you like the most?" I thought for a moment. "I used to like drawing, but I don't have time anymore." "Why don't you have time?" "I have to study. Mom says drawing is a waste of time." The doctor nodded. "So do you still want to draw now?" "I want to," I said honestly, "but I don't dare." "Why not?" "Mom will be angry." The doctor was writing something in his notebook. "Kylie, I want to ask you a question. If there were no your mother, no pressure to study, what would you want to do?" This question left me stunned. I had never thought about this question before. In my world, my mother's expectations were my goals. When she told me to study, I studied. When she told me to get good grades, I worked hard to get good grades. I never thought about what I wanted for myself. I don't know. "That's all right, take your time to think," the doctor said. "There's no standard answer to this question. Let's end it here for today. Next time you come, I hope you can tell me the answer." On the way home, I kept thinking about this question. If not for my mother's expectations, what would I want to do? I want to paint, read novels, and go shopping with friends. I want to sleep until I wake up naturally, eat the food I love. I want to have a warm home, where someone understands me and supports me. Suddenly I realized that everything I wanted, I have now. At least at Dad's house, I can sleep until I wake up naturally. I can eat the delicious food that Aunt Vanessa makes. I can play with Danny. I can feel the love from my family. Maybe I'm already on the road to recovery. In the second week of living at Dad's house, Mom suddenly appeared. It was Sunday, and I was building blocks with Danny in the living room. The doorbell rang, and Aunt Vanessa went to answer it. "Who are you looking for?" I heard Aunt Vanessa's polite voice. "I'm looking for my daughter, Kylie." Hearing that voice, I froze. It was Mom. "How did she get here?" "You are." Aunt Vanessa's voice sounded confused. "I'm her real mother." Mom's voice rose. "Let her out." I hurriedly stood up, and the building blocks scattered all over the floor. Danny looked at me strangely. "Sister, what's wrong?" "And nothing." I walked to the door and saw Mom standing outside. She was wearing a black coat, with a gloomy expression on her face. When she saw me, a complex emotion flashed in her eyes. "Kylie, come home with Mom," she said. "Mom, don't talk, pack your things, let's go now." Aunt Vanessa looked at me, then at Mom with some difficulty. "Ma'am, Kylie she what?" "She's my daughter, I'm taking her with me, is it any of your business?" Mom's tone was harsh and not polite at all. "Please don't misunderstand, I'm just worried about Kylie's health," Aunt Vanessa said gently. "She's sick, and the doctor said she needs rest." "Sick?" Mom sneered. "She's just faking it. She'll try anything to get out of studying." Hearing my mother say this, I felt a wave of shame. Having my illness denied like this in front of others made me want to disappear. "Mom, Kylie is really sick." Danny suddenly walked over and tugged on Mom's clothes. "She cries at night and has nightmares." Mom looked down at Danny, her expression softening slightly. But soon it became stern again. "Children don't understand, don't talk nonsense." She turned to me. "Kylie, pack your things right now. I'm counting to 3, if you don't come out, you can forget about coming home ever again." 1. I stood there, not knowing what to do. I didn't want to go back, but I couldn't disobey Mom either. 2. Aunt Vanessa noticed my hesitation and said softly, "Kylie, what do you want to do?" I looked at her, then at Mom. 3. "Fine, you've made your choice." Mom turned to leave, and I quickly called out to her. "Mom, I'll pack my things." Back in my room, I mechanically put clothes into the suitcase. My hands were trembling, and tears kept falling uncontrollably. I didn't want to leave this place. This place has a warm home and people who care about me. but I have to go back. Mom is my biological mother, I can't betray her. Little brother. Danny stood at the doorway with red eyes. Are you leaving? I squatted down to hug him. I'm going home. Will you come back then? I didn't know how to answer. Yeah, I'll miss you. Danny started to cry. Please don't go, okay? Seeing him cry made my heart ache even more. Danny, be good. Yeah, we'll miss you. I picked up the pot of pothos. Can I take this with me? Of course. Danny nodded vigorously. This way, big sister won't forget us. After packing up, I walked to the living room. Dad had returned at some point and was talking with Mom. Kylie is living here very well. Living well? Mom interrupted him. If she's living well, why isn't she studying? How many practice tests has she done in these 2 weeks? 5. She could normally do 5 in one day. She's just wasting her time. Dad frowned, but her health. What's wrong with my body? I eat well and sleep well, what could possibly be wrong with me? Don't be fooled by her. Mom pointed at me and said, this girl has been faking illness to evade responsibility since she was little. When she didn't want to go to school as a child, she'd say her stomach hurt. When she did poorly on exams, she'd say she had a headache. With the college entrance exam just around the corner, and now you're talking about depression. Have you ever heard of a 17-year-old getting depression? Hearing my mother say this, I lowered my head, not daring to look at anyone. Maybe she was right. Maybe I really was faking being sick. Maybe I was really a fraud. Enough. Aunt Vanessa suddenly spoke up. It's not her fault that the child is sick. What she needs is understanding and care, not blame and denial. Mom was stunned for a moment, then sneered, care? Who do you think you are? Her stepmother? Are you worthy? She has a biological mother, it's not your place to interfere. Whether I'm her stepmother doesn't matter. Aunt Vanessa's voice was very calm. What matters is what she needs right now. She needs a safe environment and family support. Not to be questioned and pressured every day. You. Mom was so angry she couldn't speak. Fine. Just fine. Kylie, look at this. She pointed at me. This is the family you chose. Even an outsider dares to boss your own mother around. How dare you still live here? I felt deep shame and guilt. It was because of me that these 2 women were fighting. It was because of me that this harmonious family was in conflict. Mom, let's go. I dragged my suitcase toward the door. Kylie. Dad called out to me. I turned back to look at him, his eyes filled with reluctance and concern. Remember, this will always be your home, he said, you can come back anytime. I nodded and followed my mom out. As we walked out the door, I heard Danny crying. Sister, don't go. I held the pot of pothos tightly, my vision blurred by tears. On the way home, my mother didn't say a word. I sat in the passenger seat, watching the scenery recede rapidly outside the window. My heart felt empty, as if I had lost something important. When I got home, my mom pushed me into the study room. Starting tomorrow, you have to do 10 sets of exam papers every day. There's only a little over a month until the college entrance exam, and you've already wasted too much time. If you don't do well this time, you can forget about going to college. After saying that, she slammed the door and locked me in the study. I looked at the desk full of exam papers and felt a suffocating sensation. That familiar feeling of despair returned. I picked up my phone, wanting to send a message to my dad. But then I thought better of it and put it down. I couldn't trouble them anymore. I must learn to adapt to this kind of life. Maybe Mom is right, I'm just too delicate. Perhaps I should really study hard and not disappoint her. But when I pick up my pen and look at those densely packed problems, my mind goes blank once again. Those numbers and symbols danced on the paper, unable to form any meaningful sentences. My hands began to tremble, and my heart raced. On the 3rd day back at my mother's house, I completely broke down. That night, I sat in the study room with 10 unfinished exam papers in front of me. Mom pushed the door open and saw the situation. Her face immediately turned iron gray. "Kylie, what are you doing?" I can't do this anymore." My voice was very small. "Couldn't go on?" Mom walked over, looked through my test paper. "Such simple problems, you didn't even write the answers?" She pointed at a math problem. "You used to be able to solve this in 5 minutes." "I forgot how to do it." This is the truth, I really forgot. Those formulas and methods were like shrouded in fog in my mind, I couldn't see them clearly. "Forgot?" Mom's voice rose an octave. "Did you really forget, or do you just not want to do it?" "Enough." Mom snatched my test paper and tore it to shreds. "You just don't want to study. Do you think you can escape responsibility by pretending to be sick? Do you think staying at your dad's for a few days will change anything?" Paper scraps fluttered in the air, just like my broken heart. "Mom, I really feel terrible." "Terrible? Do you have any idea how terrible Mom feels?" My mother's eyes turned red. "I've worked so hard to raise you for 17 years, hoping you would become successful. And what's the result? You want to give up and waste all my efforts. Can you face me with a clear conscience?" Seeing my mother cry, I felt even more guilty. "Mom, I'm sorry, I'll try harder." "Try harder? Where is your effort?" Mom pointed at the pieces of paper on the floor. "Is this your effort? Starting tomorrow, you're not allowed to leave this room. Don't even think about eating until you finish your homework." With that, she slammed the door and left. I heard the sound of a lock clicking from outside. I was really locked in the room. In that moment, I felt a despair like never before. I crouched on the ground, picking up the pieces of the torn exam paper one by one. Trying to piece them together, just like trying to piece together my broken life. But it was too shattered to piece together at all. Just like my relationship with my mother, broken beyond repair. I sat on the ground, hugging my knees, and cried loudly. That loneliness and helplessness overwhelmed me like a tide. I remember Aunt Vanessa's warm embrace. I remember Danny's innocent smile. I remember my father's guilty yet concerned gaze. I remember that warm home, that pot of pothoes, those simple yet genuine moments of happiness. But now, all of this is so far away from me. I was trapped in this cold room, facing endless exam papers and questions. It was like being in prison, never seeing any hope. The next day, my mother really didn't bring me food. I sat at the table hungry, trying to concentrate on the problems. But hunger made it even harder for me to think. My stomach was empty, and so was my mind. I looked at those problems and found them as difficult as deciphering a foreign language. In the afternoon, I finally couldn't resist knocking on the door. "Mom, I'm hungry. Finish your homework before you come out." Mom replied coldly from outside. "I can't do it." "If you can't do it, then keep thinking. Don't even think about coming out until you're finished." I had no choice but to continue sitting at the desk, staring blankly at those problems. Time passed minute by minute, and the sky gradually grew dark. My stomach was growling and my head was starting to feel dizzy. Just then, I heard arguing sounds outside. "How can you treat a child like this?" It was Dad's voice. "She's my daughter, and how I educate her is none of your business." Mom's voice was sharp. "But doing this will kill her." "Kill her?" Mom sneered. "I'm doing this for her own good. If I don't push her, she'll never know her potential. This isn't pushing, this is torture." Dad's voice was filled with anger. "Just look at her now. Skin and bones, with no light in your eyes. Is this the result you wanted?" I leaned against the door, listening, tears streaming down my face. Dad came. He came to save me. "Paul, don't you pretend to be kind here." Mom's voice was even more piercing. "What right do you have to criticize me? Who was it that abandoned this family back then? Who chose another woman? Now that the child is having problems, you come and play the good guy?" I admit I was wrong before, Dad's voice choked up, but now I want to make up for it. Make up for it? Mom interrupted him. Do you think an apology is useful? Do you think a few words can erase years of hurt? I raised her all by myself, shouldering all the pressure alone. She is my daughter now, and you have no right to interfere. Hearing my mother's words, my heart ached even more. So I really was her burden alone. So she has had it so hard all these years. So my existence brought her so much pain. Open the door, let me see Kylie. Dad said. Impossible. She's in my house now, you have no right to take her away. I'm her father. You're not. Mom screamed, you haven't been for a long time. From the day you chose to leave, you were no longer her father. Suddenly, it became quiet outside. After a long time, I heard my father's heavy sigh. Harriet, I'm begging you, he said. Stop torturing the child like this. If you hate me, then come at me. Don't hurt the innocent child. Innocent? Mother's laughter was tinged with bitterness. She's not innocent at all. She's your daughter and mine, the product of this failed marriage. When I see her, I'm reminded of you, of all these years of pain. How could you expect me not to hate her? When I heard these words, I felt as if my world was collapsing. So my mother hates me. Not because I wasn't good enough, not because I didn't try hard enough. But because my very existence reminds her of those painful memories. I am the source of her pain. I crouched behind the door, crying with my head in my hands. It turned out I had never been truly loved. It turned out my birth was a mistake. It turned out that my very existence was a burden to others. The sound of arguing outside gradually faded away. Dad left. He had given up on me too. It was late, and the room was pitch black. I was so dizzy with hunger that my body started to feel cold. I thought of those pills. Those little white pills, right there in my backpack now. Maybe, this is the only way out. I don't want to be a burden to anyone anymore. I don't want to cause my mother pain anymore. I don't want to put my father in a difficult position anymore. I fumbled for the medicine bottle and poured out all the pills in the dark. The white pills shimmered faintly in the moonlight, just like stars. I poured them all into the palm of my hand. This time, no one will come to stop me. No Danny's voice, no Aunt Vanessa's care. Only me, alone in this cold room. I was about to bring the pill to my lips when my phone suddenly rang. It was a WeChat message. I picked up my phone and saw it was a voice message from Danny. Sister, what are you doing? I miss you so much. Today I drew a picture of our whole family, and you too, sister. Sister, when are you coming back? I've been waiting so hard for you. The pothose misses you too, its leaves have all turned yellow. Hearing Danny's childish voice, my hands began to tremble. I looked at the pothose on the windowsill. It had indeed turned yellow and looked lifeless. Just like me right now. But Danny was waiting for me to come back. He drew a picture of our whole family. He said I was his sister, his family. Should I really leave like this? Should I really let this naive child wait forever for his sister? I put down the pills and replied to Danny, Sister is here, sister is fine. Tell Pothose that sister will take good care of it. After sending the message, I put the pills back into the bottle. It's not that I don't want to be free, but because I can't let Danny down. He trusts me so much, loves me so much. I can't betray this innocent feeling. Maybe I really am a burden, maybe I'm really not needed. But at least, there's still a little boy waiting for me to come home. And there's a pot of Pothose that needs me to take care of it. That's enough. On the morning of the third day, Mom finally opened the door. She stood at the doorway holding a bowl of plain congee, her expression still grim. Eat. She placed the congee on the table. I looked at the bowl of congee, which was as thin as water, and didn't move. I hadn't eaten for 2 days and was so hungry I barely had any strength left. But when I saw my mother's face, I remembered those words she said. I remembered her saying she hated me, that I was the source of her pain. If you don't want to eat, then forget it. Seeing that I wasn't moving, Mom turned to leave. Mom, I called out to her, do you really hate me? Mom's body stiffened for a moment, but she didn't turn around. Finish your dinner and do your homework. She still didn't answer my question. Her silence had already said it all. I picked up the bowl of congee and drank it mouthful by mouthful. The porridge was very hot and tasteless, but I still drank it all seriously. This might be the last bowl of porridge I'll ever have in this home. After finishing my meal, I picked up my pen and began working on those endless problems. But this time was different. I was no longer doing problems to please my mother. I was no longer desperately trying to prove myself. I was just mechanically writing down answers, as if completing a task. Because I've come to understand that no matter how well I do, Mom will never truly be happy. Her pain isn't because I'm not good enough, but because of my existence. And that's something I can never change. At noon, the doorbell rang again. I heard Mom go to open the door, and then a familiar voice. Is Kylie here? We've come to see her. It was Aunt Vanessa. My heart raced as I pressed against the door, listening to what was happening outside. She is studying and has no time for visitors. Mother's voice was very cold. We'll just take one look and leave immediately. Aunt Vanessa's voice was gentle but insistent. No, she can't be distracted right now. Harriet, let's go see the children. That was Dad's voice. I said no, and that means no. Mom's voice rose, you all leave, don't disturb us here. Mom, where is Sister? Danny's voice sounded childish and anxious. I want to see my sister. Little one, your sister is busy right now. Mom's tone softened slightly. Can you come back another day? No. I want to see my sister now. Danny started crying. Sister promised to come back, why isn't she coming back? Is it that Sister doesn't want me anymore? Hearing Danny cry, my heart broke. I wanted to rush out and hug him, tell him that Sister hadn't abandoned him. But the door was locked, and I couldn't get out. Danny, don't cry. Aunt Vanessa comforted him, your sister must miss you very much, she's just temporarily busy. When will Sister come back? Soon your sister will be back. But I could tell that Aunt Vanessa's voice was also a little choked up. Harriet, Kylie's condition is very dangerous right now. Dad lowered his voice and said, you can't go on like this. What, dangerous or not, she's perfectly fine. Mom said impatiently, stop trying to scare us here. She hasn't eaten for 2 days. Dad's voice was filled with anger, you're abusing her. Abuse? Mom sneered, I'm educating her. No food if she doesn't study. What's wrong with that? She doesn't not want to study, she's sick. Aunt Vanessa said urgently, depression is not something to take lightly, if it gets serious, what will happen? Mom interrupted her, will she die? That would be perfect, then I wouldn't have to worry about her. Hearing these words, it suddenly became quiet outside. Even Danny's crying stopped. I leaned against the door, feeling the whole world spinning around me. Mom actually said that it would be better if I were dead. She actually wanted me to die. How could you say that? Aunt Vanessa's voice was trembling, she's your daughter. Daughter? The mother gave a bitter smile. What has she brought me? Besides pain and burden, what else is there? I worked so hard to raise her for 17 years, and she can't even get good grades. Now she's pretending to be sick to escape responsibility. What do I want with a daughter like this? I crouched behind the door, holding my head and crying loudly. So this was my mother's true feelings. It turned out that in her heart, I was truly worthless. It turned out that my life or death meant nothing to her. Enough! Dad roared, Harriet, are you crazy? That's your own daughter. So what if she's my own flesh and blood? Mom screamed hysterically, I wish I had never given birth to her. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have married you, you bastard. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be in so much pain right now. She is the disaster of my life. Fierce arguing could be heard from outside, but I could no longer make it out. A buzzing sound filled my ears, and my heart ached as if it were about to stop beating. I am the disaster of my mother's life. I am the source of her pain. She wishes she had never given birth to me. This is the meaning of my existence. This is the value of my life. I fumbled for the medicine bottle, pouring out all the pills. This time I didn't hesitate. I shoved the pills into my mouth and swallowed hard. A bitter taste spread in my mouth, but I felt a sense of relief. Finally, I no longer have to be a burden to anyone. Finally, I can stop causing my mother pain. Finally, I can end this disaster. My consciousness gradually faded as I collapsed to the ground. I could still hear the arguing outside, but it was growing more and more distant. Like looking through very thick glass, I could see but couldn't hear clearly. I thought of Danny's smiling face, Aunt Vanessa's embrace, and my father's guilty eyes. I'm sorry for disappointing you. But maybe this is for the best, so you can all live better lives. Without me as a burden, everyone will be happier. Hallucinations are starting to appear before my eyes, colorful spots of light dancing around. I feel so light, as if I'm about to fly away. Maybe this is what liberation feels like. Maybe this is the taste of freedom. Suddenly, a loud crash came from outside the door. Then came hurried footsteps. Kylie! Kylie! Someone was calling my name. It was Dad's voice. Call an ambulance. It's Aunt Vanessa's voice. Kylie, what's wrong? Wake up. Someone is shaking my body, but I no longer have the strength to open my eyes. The medicine bottle. She took pills. Quick, get her to the hospital now. I felt myself being picked up, followed by rapid movement. The sound of cars, footsteps, and shouts all grew more distant. In the last moment of consciousness, I heard Danny crying, "Sister, don't go to sleep, please wake up." I'm sorry, Danny. Sister might have to sleep for a very, very long time. But Sister will think of you in her dreams. Will think of your smile, think of your hugs, think of the drawings you made for me. Those beautiful memories will accompany Sister into an eternal dream. When I woke up, I was lying on a white hospital bed. The glaring lights made it impossible to open my eyes, and my throat was as dry as smoke. She's awake. She's awake, someone shouted excitedly. I struggled to open my eyes and saw Aunt Vanessa's red, swollen eyes. Kylie, you're finally awake. She held my hand, tears streaming down her face. You scared us to death. I wanted to speak, but couldn't make a sound. It felt like something was stuck in my throat, and I couldn't speak. Don't try to speak, Aunt Vanessa gently stroked my hair. The doctor said your throat is injured and needs time to heal slowly. I looked around, this was a hospital room. There were many flowers by the bedside, and Danny's drawings were posted on the wall. Dad sat in the corner with messy hair and an unshaven beard. When he saw me wake up, he walked over, his eyes filled with guilt. Kylie, I'm sorry. His voice was hoarse. Daddy came late. I shook my head, wanting to tell him it wasn't his fault, but I still couldn't make a sound. The doctor said you were severely poisoned, Aunt Vanessa wiped away her tears. Fortunately, we discovered it in time, otherwise. She couldn't continue and started crying again. I looked at them and felt a warmth flow through my heart. So there were still people who cared about me. So my life and death mattered to some people. Sister. Sister is awake. Danny rushed into the hospital room and threw himself by my bedside. Sister, why did you sleep for so long? Danny has been waiting for you so hard. Seeing his innocent face, my tears flowed down. I reached out to touch his head, wanting to tell him that Sister was fine now. Sister, you're crying. Danny used his little hands to wipe away my tears. Does your body hurt? He gently blew on my hand, just like when we scraped our knees as children. That innocent care made my heart feel even warmer. The doctor came in and checked my condition. The recovery is going well, he said to my father, but she needs to be observed for a few more days. Additionally, her psychological condition requires professional treatment. I've already contacted the best psychiatrist, and treatment can begin tomorrow. Dad nodded. Thank you, doctor. After the doctor left, Aunt Vanessa sat by my bed. Kylie, do you know, she said softly, when we found you, my heart stopped. I thought, if something happened to you, how could I face myself? You're such a good child, how could you think of giving up? I opened my mouth to explain, but still couldn't make a sound. I could only express my apology with my eyes. I know your pain. Aunt Vanessa continued, I also know you feel like you're a burden. But you're wrong, Kylie. You're not a burden, you're a gift. A gift sent to our family from heaven. Since you came, our home has become warmer. Danny talks about his big sister every day, and your dad has become more responsible. Even I have become better because of you. Hearing her words, my tears flowed even more fiercely. So my existence could bring happiness to others too. So I had value too. Where is Mom? I struggled to squeeze out a few words, my voice like a broken bellows. Aunt Vanessa and Dad exchanged a look. She went back to her hometown, Dad said. I nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Actually, I had already guessed it. Mom wasn't coming to see me. For her, it would probably be better if I were dead. That way, she would be completely free. Kylie, don't overthink it. Aunt Vanessa seemed to see what I was thinking. Focus on getting well. When you're better, we'll go home together. Really? I asked with difficulty, can I still go back? Of course you can. Danny jumped up, that's sister's home. The pot hose was almost dying, waiting for its big sister to come back and save it. Hearing Danny's words, I smiled. This was the first time I had smiled since the accident. Maybe Mom doesn't need me, but someone here does. Maybe I'm not a perfect daughter, but I can be a good sister. Perhaps I cannot change the past, but I can choose the future. That afternoon, the psychiatrist came. She was a gentle middle-aged woman, doctorly. She didn't ask me why I wanted to commit suicide, nor did she criticize my actions. Instead, she first asked about my physical condition. How do you feel? She asked. Does your body still hurt? I shook my head. And what about your heart? I thought for a moment and nodded. It's normal for your heart to hurt, Dr. Lee said. Emotional wounds are harder to heal than physical ones. But as long as you use the right approach, you will definitely get better. She took out a notebook. Kylie, I want you to write something. Since it's temporarily difficult to speak, let's use writing instead. What should I write? I asked. Write what you want to say to yourself, she said. Anything is fine, don't worry about right or wrong. I took the notebook and thought for a long time. Finally, I wrote down a sentence, I'm sorry, I made everyone worry. Dr. Lee looked at it and handed the notebook back to me. Anything else? I continued to write, I thought no one needed me. I thought my existence would only bring pain to others. I thought dying would make things easier for everyone. But I was wrong. It turns out there are people who care about me, who love me. It turns out I have value too. It turns out I deserve to be loved. After writing these words, I feel much lighter in my heart. The gloom weighing on my heart seemed to have been dispelled somewhat. Very good. Dr. Lee looked at what I wrote, this is great progress. Recognizing your own worth is the first step to recovery. Over the next few days, I slowly recovered in the hospital. Aunt Vanessa comes to accompany me every day, bringing me delicious food. Danny also comes after school to tell me about what happened in kindergarten. Dad comes over after finishing work to chat or read books with me. Their companionship made me feel a warmth I hadn't experienced in a long time. This warmth wasn't because I behaved well or because I had excellent grades. It was simply because I was me, because I was their family. Dr. Lee also came to see me every day and chat with me. She told me that depression is an illness, not a character flaw. Just like a cold causes a runny nose, depression causes low mood. This isn't my fault, nor is it my weakness. But why am I the only one who got this illness? I asked her. Everyone has different levels of resilience, Dr. Lee explained. Just like some people catch colds easily while others don't. You're just more sensitive, which is both a weakness and a strength. Sensitive people can better understand others' pain and have more empathy. This is a very precious quality. Hearing her words, I began to see myself differently. Maybe I'm really not that bad after all. Perhaps my sensitivity and fragility have their own value. A week later, I was finally discharged from the hospital. On the way home, I looked at the scenery outside the window with mixed feelings. Is this still my home? Can I still adapt to life here? The car was parked downstairs, and I walked toward the elevator with my luggage. Sister, look! Danny exclaimed excitedly, pointing upstairs. We've prepared a surprise for you. The elevator doors opened, and Aunt Vanessa pushed me out. The moment I opened the door, I froze. Colorful streamers hung in the living room, and a cake was placed on the dining table. On the wall was a drawing by Danny, along with a banner, "Welcome home, Kylie." Surprise! Danny jumped up, "Sister, welcome home." Seeing this scene, tears streamed down my face again. But this time, they were tears of joy. "Thank you," I said with a choked voice. "It's good to be home." Aunt Vanessa hugged me. "This will always be your home." Yes, this is my home. Not because of blood ties, but because of love. Not because of obligation, but because of choice. I chose this place, and this place chose me. On the third day of returning home, I received a call from my mother. Seeing her name flashing on my phone screen, I hesitated for a long time before answering. "Hello." My voice was still a bit hoarse. "Kylie, are you okay?" Mom's voice sounded very tired, not as sharp as before. "Thank goodness," I answered simply. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line. "Your dad told me about your hospitalization." Mom's voice was soft, "I'm sorry." These two words were the first I had ever heard from her mouth. But hearing them now, my heart felt no ripple. "It's okay," I said. "I don't blame you." This wasn't just a pleasantry, I truly didn't blame her anymore. During those days in the hospital, Dr. Lee had many talks with me. She said that everyone has their own trauma and limitations. Mom is the same, her behavior might stem from her own pain. You really don't blame Mom?" Mom's voice trembled. "I don't blame her," I repeated, "you've had it hard too." A soft sobbing sound came from the other end of the phone. "Kylie, what Mom said that day. Mom didn't mean it. Mom was too angry at the time and said a lot of things she shouldn't have. You're Mom's daughter, how could Mom not love you?" Hearing these words, my eyes grew moist. Not because I was moved, but because my heart ached. It ached for her, and for the person I once was. "Mom, I know you love me," I said. "We just express our love differently." "Kylie," Mom cried out, "Mom was wrong, Mom was really wrong. Mom shouldn't have treated you that way, shouldn't have said those things. Can you forgive Mom?" I looked at the sunlight outside the window and thought for a long time. Forgiveness is for yourself, not for others. Resentment only brings suffering to oneself, while forgiveness can set the soul free. "I forgive you," I said. "Really?" Mom's voice was filled with hope. "Really? Then, will you come back?" Mom asked tentatively. "Mom promises not to force you to study anymore." "No," I said softly, "I'm doing well here." "But this isn't your home." "This is my home," I interrupted her. "There are people here who love me, and I love them too." Silence fell on the other end of the line again. "Kylie, Mom only now understands what home means." Mom's voice was very soft. "Home isn't a house, it's a place with love. Mom has made too many mistakes over the years, turning our home into a prison. Saying I'm sorry now might be too late." "It's not too late," I said. It's never too late. Do you still recognize me as your mother? Of course. I said without hesitation, you'll always be my mother. But I need some time and space now. I need to continue treatment, need to slowly recover. Okay, my mother said repeatedly, you focus on getting well, I won't disturb you. Whenever you want to see me, I'll always be here. After hanging up the phone, I sat on the balcony in a daze. This phone call brought a chapter of my inner life to a close. My relationship with my mother may never return to what it was before. But at least, we can part without hatred. At least, I can move forward with forgiveness and understanding. Sister, what are you thinking about? Danny walked up to my side at some point. Thinking about the past, I said. Are you thinking about Mom? Danny asked, tilting his head, that very fierce auntie? I smiled, she's not fierce, she was just too anxious. Oh. Danny nodded with a look of partial understanding, then if you miss her, you can go see her. I don't want to just yet. I patted his head, I'd rather spend time with Danny. Really? Danny jumped up happily, then let's go water the pothose. It waited for its sister for such a long time. I followed Danny to my room and saw the pothose on the windowsill. It had indeed turned somewhat yellow, but it was still growing tenaciously. Just like me, having weathered storms but never giving up. I picked up the watering can and gently watered it. Pothose, I'm sorry for making you worry. I said softly, from now on, I'll take good care of you. Sister, are you talking to the pothose? Danny asked curiously. Yes, plants have lives too, they can understand what we say. Really? Danny leaned closer to the pothose excitedly, pothose, I'm Danny, you need to grow up quickly. Watching his serious expression, I couldn't help but laugh. Life always has such simple and beautiful moments that make people feel happy. During dinner, Aunt Vanessa told me some news. Kylie, we've already taken care of the school matters. You can apply for a 1-year leave of absence to focus on your treatment. When you're better next year, you can take the college entrance exam. I nodded, thank you, Auntie. Actually, I figured it out. I continued, whether your grades are good or not, whether you go to college or not, none of that is the most important thing. The most important thing is to live healthily and happily. Yes, Dad agreed, being healthy is more important than anything else. But if you want to study, Dad will fully support you. It's never too late. I want to study, I said, but I want to study for myself, not for others. I want to learn the major I like and do what I want to do. How about psychology? Aunt Vanessa suggested, you've been through so much, maybe you could help others. My eyes lit up, that was a great suggestion. I could use my own experiences to help those who were suffering in the same way. Let them know they are not alone. Let them know the darkness will eventually pass. Let them know everyone deserves to be loved. I think it's great, I said, I want to become a psychologist and help people like me. Great. Danny clapped, Sister is going to be a doctor. When I'm sick in the future, Sister will examine me. Okay. I said with a smile, Sister won't charge Danny for medical examinations. That night, I lay in bed, looking at the stars outside the window. These past few months have been like a dream, experiencing so many ups and downs. From despair to hope, from death to rebirth. I've come to understand many truths. Everyone has their own value, no need for others to define it. Love is not possession, not control, but understanding and support. Home is not defined by blood relations, but by where the heart belongs. Forgiveness is not for others, but for your own freedom. Most importantly, I have come to understand the meaning of life. It is not about living to meet others' expectations. It is not about escaping to avoid pain. Instead, I live for love, for hope, for those simple yet beautiful moments. The phone rang. It was a message from Dr. Lee. Kylie, how are you feeling today? I replied, very well, thank you for your concern, doctor. Remember what we said, say it to yourself every day, I am valuable, I deserve to be loved. I looked at this sentence and read it softly. I am valuable, I deserve to be loved. This sentence was like a spell, filling my heart with warmth. Yes, I deserve to be loved. Not because I am perfect, but because I am me. Not because I am excellent, but because I exist. Everyone deserves to be loved, including the me who was once desperate. I picked up the pen and wrote in my diary today's thoughts. Today is the 10th day of my rebirth. I'm starting to believe that life will get better and better. I'm starting to believe that I have the ability to create my own happiness. Tomorrow's sun will still rise, and I will welcome it with hope. To everyone struggling in the darkness, please believe that the darkness will eventually pass. Please believe that you are worthy of love. Please believe that tomorrow will be better. After writing these words, I closed my diary and fell peacefully asleep. This time, I didn't have a nightmare. I dreamed of sunshine, of flowers, of Danny's smiling face. I dreamed of my future self, healthy and happy, helping those in need. This dream was beautiful, like a life reborn.